You know the question that you get asked about, if you could only pick one game to watch over and over again, which one would it be? Well, sometimes you think about those epic 9-2 wins or those 8-0s from the conference or the night we got promoted, etc. Well, I think I've just added a new one, the 1-0 win away at Bolton. Why? Well, that's just so typically Mansfield, isn't it? Nigel Clough basically said he only had 9 fit players to start against Bolton, a side who, in their previous 23 plus home games, hadn't lost. So for the Stags to go there and nick a 1-0 win, well, that's just so typically Mansfield. It's more Mansfield than Mansfield can get. What a victory, what a night. Join us to recap that, to relive the fight, the spirit, the bravery which saw the Stags silence Bolton. Plus tonight we'll briefly recap 2025 as a calendar year and look ahead to the next 2 fixtures, Bradford City at home and relegation threatened Rotherham on Sunday. This is the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield always matters, so come and have your say on your team and let us know what else you think is just so typically Mansfield. Hello, good evening and happy Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday, people, to you all. I hope you're having a fantastic final day of 2025, recapping everything that's happened this calendar year for all things Mansfield Town. What a way to finish it, by the way. A scrappy 1-0 win at Bolton. There's a nice synergy to it, isn't there? Starting with a win against Bolton and then finishing with a win against Bolton. You can't ask for much more, can you? Tonight on the Mansfield Matters podcast, we will look back over that win at Bolton and cast our eye back over the calendar year as well. And as ever, we want you guys to have your say on your team. So come and join us in the live feed comments. Joining me to do that and to go through all of these discussions. I've asked for new teeth for the new year. Joining me to go through all the discussions tonight, let's say hello, good evening, and welcome to Mr. Jim Evans. Evening, Jim.
Evening, Craig. Evening, everybody. Happy New Year, everybody.
And also to a man who was alongside me at Bolton on whenever it was. Evening, Clive.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Craig.
Have you been reunited with your phone now?
Yeah, I don't miss it, you know. I'm of an age where a phone is a novelty, not an essentiality like you youngsters.
He left his phone behind. He did ask me whether I'd go back and get it. I did say yes, but he declined the offer. Declined the offer. So there you go. And let's say hello and welcome and good evening to a man who has been so busy this festive period. He's finally got time to relax until next year, where he has to do it all over again. It's one hell of a shift, isn't it, Alan Wilson?
It is, Craig, but it's a very enjoyable one. Good evening, Craig, and good evening, everybody.
I bet you can't wait to get back to the One Call Stadium tomorrow on New Year's Day. A reminder that, of course, we are back in action tomorrow afternoon, hence why we're doing it a little bit earlier tonight. And that if you want to play along with podcast predictions, I know I'm doing this at the top of the show, you can do so. All of the January fixtures have now been added. The thing's been reset, and you can now get your guesses in for all of January's games. And to kick off 2026, double points? Nah, forget that. How about triple points? We'll get our guesses in later on and we'll reveal the full table as well if you've not already seen it. Right there, let's go back to whenever it was, Monday night. Clive and we had a little trip up to Bolton, and us coming away with a 1-0 win was not on our list of things that would happen on Monday. Alas, here we are, 1-0 winners at Bolton, finally ending their home record and going into 2026 with, dare I say, a little spring in our step.
Yeah, it's a bit mentally damaging. I've no idea that I know so little about football. The reality is there's no way on this earth we should have come away with anything from that game, let alone win. I mean, against a team that hadn't lost at home for a year and we're scoring more goals than anybody. So to come away with a clean sheet and 3 points was phenomenal. and it was phenomenal. And we were geared up to deal with the disappointment. And then we'd said on the way up, well, actually, it's not too bad because we've got the 3 points at Barnsley. Takes the pressure off a little bit. And then when we saw just how poor the quality of his selection was because of the restrictions, because of injuries and what have you, and we effectively played a good team with a scratch team, two of whom weren't really contributing a great deal. So to come away with anything was remarkable. And I'm still confused.
Clive is just in a permanent state of confusion, to be fair. Alan, you are the most positive man on the planet. You're the most positive man that I've ever met. You can turn any negative situation and put a positive slant on it. But there must have been part of your brain which was going, come on, we're surely not going to get anything on Monday.
Like in the predictions, I'd got us down for a draw. I honestly thought we'd hang on for a draw, but I was pleasantly surprised. But to be fair, in Nigel's interview that he alluded to, we have had quite a few things go against us. So it's about time we had a bit of a rub of the green. And, I think on the whole deserved it with the way we defended.
That's very true. Speaking of rub of the green, Jim, one thing we do on this podcast is when we throw people under the bus or we highlight them for maybe not being particularly very good in spells, we do eat our humble pie desserts with a nice bit of whipped cream or ice cream, depending on your preference. And we're having a massive helping tonight because you got to take your hat off to him if you were wearing one. A little Nobby Welsh, well, he asked Santa to find the footballer in him for Christmas, and well, he's delivered again, hasn't he?
Well, Clough always said that it would come, didn't he? He said it was on the training ground. It was just waiting for it to click on a match day. So, it was obviously there somewhere. We've struggled to see it, but to be honest with you, some of his performances have been scratchy. But hopefully that's a sign of more to come. I mean, I'll be honest, Dickov looks better to me than Nobby. But obviously, Clough sees him day to day, and hopefully we've got a player now. And he's fit as well. He plays games.
The big thing with Nobby Welsh, Clive, on Monday night was the fact that not just he delivered for the corner, as Marie says in the comments, but also the fact that he played a good 70 minutes, 75 minutes, completely out of position at right wing back due to Elliot Hewitt going off injured.
Yeah, and he looked comfortable. I think the emergence of little Nobby's form is a Christmas gift, isn't it? Because I'll be honest enough, I've been very critical of him. I've seen him as a player with potential and obviously a degree of talent, but wasn't prepared to put the hard yards in. Maybe there's more to his game than the Cloughism of running every yard on the pitch. But he certainly got a good delivery. He takes a good corner. But as you just said, he adapted to playing in a position he's not used to and played it with comfort against some really good players as well.
Yeah, it has to be said. You've got to give credit where it's due. Alan, I think one thing for us tonight is, we've named this episode "That's Just So Mansfield" because it is, isn't it? It's such a Mansfield thing to go to a side who are unbeaten at home in 20 plus nearly 30 odd games in all competitions, with 9 fully fit players, with hardly any subs. A couple of the players, that started, Nigel Clough would not have picked to start in any normal circumstance. It's just so Mansfield to go there, isn't it? On the ropes to steal a 1-0 win.
I was sorry, Craig. I missed it. Didn't come whether it was me or Jim, but I'll answer anyway.
It's you.
Oh, thank you. I think as regarding the little Nobby Welsh, I think out of all the times that he played on against Bolton, all the minutes that he played, I think he only got skinned once, and that were a nutmeg when the big tall lad come on with the long hair. About 10 minutes ago, he actually skinned him once. Well, he put it through his legs, but other than that, he was absolutely superb. I thought all the way through. And I think he would be close with Roberts to get man at match and Reid, because Reid played really well when he came on as well.
It's such a typical Mansfield thing to do, isn't it, Jim? Like I was saying there, 26 games in all competitions at home that Bolton were unbeaten for going into that one. 9 fit players to start the game, 2 of which you'd argue in Dickov and McAdam as well. I don't think Clough would have chosen to start in normal circumstances. I don't think realistically they get anywhere near starting 11 if everybody's fit. That's no detriment to them, by the way. I just think it's a Clough thing. On the ropes for probably 89 minutes of the 90-minute match, and we go there and win 1-0. It's such a team spirit, such a Mansfield thing to do, isn't it? Such a Clough thing to do.
Oh, definitely. And I think when you're up against it, all those things you just listed that are going against you, I think that pulls a dressing room together. And I do think it gives you an extra 5% mentally. Yeah, sort of siege mentality, isn't it? But also the other thing I'd say, I think that record Bolton had, I think that was possibly a bit of a monkey on their back. I think that adds a bit of tension for them because they want to preserve the record. And you'll probably find their next home game they'll be a lot more relaxed and they'll be more dangerous than they were on Monday night. But I think it also goes to show how tight this league is. You know, it's so. There's only one team who impresses me is Cardiff, really, who are sort of head and shoulders above everybody. I think the rest of it is quite similar, and it shows how much that this league is there for the taking.
Yeah, I think it does. It certainly does, Clive, doesn't it? To sort of suggest that, you know, 2 games ago, going into that Barnsley game, we were in the bottom four. We're thinking, you know, a bad couple of results here, we're going to be on the other. You know, we're going to be struggling a little bit. Yet we've leapfrogged all the way back up the league table a little bit. We're nowhere near out of the woods, as Jim alluded to there. It's a very, very tight division, which is why it's so important to go and get these kind of victories. And like Nigel Clough's alluded to, like people have said in the comments, it's one of the best wins of all of his 27 plus years of management for that exact reason. It's so tight this year. And when your backs are up against the wall, you can either roll over and have your tummy tickled, or you can start digging your heels in and start fighting. And that's exactly what Nigel Clough would have challenged them to do, and exactly what they did.
Yeah, I know we've said this so many times, but had we not got the phenomenal injury circumstances, we wouldn't have been struggling as much as we have been. But we are where we are, and the reality is there's about 8 or 9 teams now, all within a couple of points of one another. So this league table will change radically over the next few games. We just need to be picking points up. That's all. We're actually not behind the asking rate for the season's target. If survival is the important point here, 50 should do it, and we're ahead of that 50 game at the moment. But you know, we've got to play all the teams again, apart from Bolton. And I think we shouldn't be too frightened. What we can't tolerate, what we can't stand, is any further injuries at the moment, because I just don't know how he's going to pick a team. As it is, they've got 2 games coming up very quickly on the back of the ones that they've just had, with players who must be running on fumes now.
Yeah, that's a big concern, isn't it, Alan, going into those 2 games? You know, Clough said sort of after the Bolton game, Elliot Hewitt and Fraser Blake-Tracy in any other world wouldn't have started. We only really had one player back in the mix for Bolton in Rhys Oates coming back from suspension. It's highly unlikely he's going to get any others fit and available. It's going to be a huge gamble to see what he does, because the only logical thing to do would be to potentially start Dave at right wing back, which then leaves you with 3 left-footed centre backs if you're mixing people around a little bit. So like Clive said there, it's, you know, we may well have 6 points from the last 2 games, but we've still got a lot of work to do. It could swing back the other way so quickly.
Yeah, it could, but I mean, he's got the what shall I say, the bonus now of being able to put little Nobby Welsh at right back if he so wishes. He's got Aaron Lewis. I was surprised Aaron Lewis didn't fit in at right back, but obviously he was needed in the midfield, so he put little Nobby Welsh there, and he did a good job. I mean, he could play them in there again if Elliot Hewitt's not fit. It's nice to see Luke Bolton back and getting 20 minutes. I was same with Martin Shaw was saying on the commentary. He says he was worried every time he kept running for the ball in case he pulled up. But he did okay, and he certainly defended well, and he helped little Nobby Welsh out on the right-hand side, didn't he? So, I mean, there's other players who can play there. We've got Akins. We've got quite a few players who can play at right back, but it's just filling the other spots. I didn't think Dickoff and McAdam really bolstered their choice for, you know, a first team spot. They didn't really get into it. McAdam, I thought, played better than Dickoff.
Yeah, both for me are reserve players, aren't they? They are there to fill spots as and when needed. Dickoff, for me, I think when we play the 4-2-3-1 system, and he plays wide on the left-hand side, I think is probably the better of the two. I've said it over and over again with McAdam. I don't want to be negative towards him. He's obviously a young lad trying to drive out a career for himself, Jim, but he's one of the players I would not be bothered if Forest took him back. In fact, if I could send him back to free up a slot for someone else, I probably would, because the options on that side are so loaded anyway. You know, you've got when fully fit, McLaughlin, Fraser Blake, Tracy, Cargill can play out there. You know, you've got Jordan Bowery who can play out there as well when he comes back in as well. Elliot Hewitt, if needed, could go across there when Noyle's fit. McAdam's a bit of a waste of a slot for me, and like Alan said there, I don't think, to be fair, up against a good Bolton side, I don't think he did himself any favours in terms of knocking on Clough's door for a start on tomorrow.
No, I think two things really. I don't think he's physically ready for senior men's football. I feel he needs to still be in sort of the under-21s or that kind of age group. And secondly, when you don't play very often, it's hard to get in your stride anyway, as I think probably Dickoff's suffering from, really. And am I right?
I think we might have just lost Jim there. We'll see if he comes back in a little bit. He's just he's frozen at an awkward angle, so I think he's gone. I think he might have to. I think his battery might have died in his phone. That's the danger of doing that. Well, if you can still hear me, Jim, log out and log back in again, and we'll see what happens. Right, he's gone. Right, what was I saying? What were we saying? Oh, McAdam. Clive, like I said, like we were sort of saying there, do you want to just pick that up, Clive? He didn't do himself that many favours, did he? Oh, I've muted him. Hang on. There we go. Sorry. Oh, no. What? I don't know what's going off. Saying your mic's not connected. I think he's muted himself.
Shall I talk about McAdam?
Yeah, go on, Alan. Yeah.
I agreed with Jim, what you were saying. What I was saying, why it's hard to, once you haven't been playing, it's hard to get stuck back in. And I understand that. But, they had the chance there. And they were, to be fair to both of them, both him and Dickoff, they were pegged back by Bolton. So, it was a hard match for him to come back into. But, I'm glad they did.
Jim's back.
I don't know what went wrong there. I've got loads of battery power. I don't know.
Just a glitch in the system. You were talking about McAdam.
Yeah. Was I right in thinking, does he qualify as not taking a registration, please, with his age?
I think so,
right?
Yeah. I think so.
So I think that was one of the things that must have attracted Clough to signing him. But if he's not ready, there's no point. And like I was also saying, if he's not playing games, it's hard to get into your rhythm. But he was way off it on Monday night, and I think it's not fair to the lads to just play him once every 8 weeks and let him struggle like that. I mean, if we can send him back, I would. And because obviously we must be covering some of his wages, and we need to, without sounding brutal, the same with people like Dwyer. Obviously, he's not young, but we need to use our resources on people who we're actually going to use and contribute. And we've got to be very selective with that.
Absolutely. Right. Well, let's round things off on Bolton before we dip into some of the comments. Keep them coming in. Clive, I think it does typify Mansfield's spirit, doesn't it? A determined display. We've spoken at length about little Nobby Welsh and how he's improved in the last few games. I think it would be unfair of us actually to not also put Ryan Sweeney under that spotlight as well, because ever since he's come back in, as I knew he would from the start of the season, and if you go back and watch all the podcasts, I was defending Ryan Sweeney to the hilt, and this is exactly why, because the more games he's played, he's got better and better and better. And I thought he was phenomenal at Bolton. He threw himself in front of absolutely everything they could offer.
Yes, I'd written it down. Sweeney is showing his quality and experience now. It's starting to emerge, and that's got to be good news. And if you keep him fit as well. But having said that, you've got Cargill, Sweeney and Dave. When they work together well, we've got a really good solid middle of the back there. And I think apart from Dave's dalliance with the goalkeeper in the game when he did his best to give a goal away, he had a faultless game. So I think that's one of the reasons we've come away with a clean sheet. We were right to pick up on some improvement where Welsh is concerned, and I think we always recognise that the midfield needs McDonald back in the side, and so hopefully he'll be back by the time we turn into the new year. So I think there's plenty of reasons for optimism based on what we've been doing, given the really difficult circumstances that we're working with. and where we can be in a few weeks' time with a few players back in to be chosen from.
Keep your comments coming in. Have your say on your team if you wish to do so tonight. Mark says, very disciplined performance. Roberts again was class and we will be lucky to keep him. Great couple of wins. Good to see players that were written off standing up now and showing what they can do. Alice Sweeney and Nobby Welsh, says Simon. Another Simon also says, Nigel Clough said it was one of the best wins of his 27 years of management. Jeff says, just keep the run going and not to undo the last 2 games' performances. And Martin adds, rumours McDonald isn't far away from making the squad. Ben, our PPG, podcast predictions guru, says, Mariah Welsh, 5 assists, but still not good enough. I hope he proves me wrong, but not good enough so far. Sweeney, fair play. Last couple of games, think he's finally coming in to be the person we expected. An amazing 6 points when we fully bring it on. I think there's a lot of promise to come. I was surprised, Alan, a little bit to see Luke Bolton involved on the bench on Monday night. When he came on, he's shown glimpses of qualities, like you said earlier. People sort of said that in the commentary that they were worried that every time he ran, he might pull up. Well, the same can be said for every single one of our players at the minute. Again, if Luke Bolton can get fit, I know I'm going back a little bit on what I said in the last podcast, he'll be a handful for us, but it's that ifs and buts, isn't it? It's just about giving players time, and we need to be patient with bringing these players back. Like we've seen in previous seasons, we've rushed players back too quickly. But at the same time, Alan, we can't afford to be patient because we need them to play. We're on our last legs.
Well, the thing is, they all need a sustained run of about 4 or 5 games, don't they? Whether it be 45 minutes, 60, 75, or even the full 90 if they could make it. But, we don't seem to be able to get that comfort, do we? It was nice to see Reece back up front, and obviously he got the goal. So, that's fair play to Reece. But it was a bit worrying when he went off, but I think it was only cramp. That's what they're all saying on the side. And it looked okay when he was coming over and clapping the fans at the end of the game. So I just think if you can have a sustained run, the injuries will start to cease a little bit, I think. And, we'll see the best of the players like Sweeney, Nobby Welsh, Bolton, etc.
Adam in the comments, Jim says Sweeney is solid, but bloody slow if chasing back. Plant him at centre-back and defend. Improvement, Sweeney versus Flint, not sure. Personally, I think it is. I loved Aidan Flint, but I didn't think he was quite League One level. Sweeney's got a couple of years on him and can operate in a number of different positions in a back 3, back 5, back 4. Whereas Flint, you knew what you knew what you got. I think it is an improvement because it gives us a little bit more longevity. Would I love to see them playing alongside each other? Absolutely, but we need someone quick and nimble to sweep up behind them.
Yeah. I think Sweeney is getting his feet now. I thought he'd find his feet a lot quicker, considering he sort of lives in the area anyway, and he's been with us before. But I think originally we don't really play typically to what he was playing with Burton last year. But to be fair to him, he's stuck with it and he's fought and he's got his he plays back in the team and he's looking okay now. He's looking the player we always knew he could have been, even though I thought he'd have a little bit more on the ball. But hey ho, good. At one point it was looking like we were going to have to sort of loan him out. I know a lot of people had sort of differing opinions on that, but it can only be good, isn't it? If one of your players strikes form like old Nobby, I'd certainly prefer him to Flint because Flint, basically his legs are gone, hasn't he? I think a 28-year-old Flint would still be in the Championship, no doubt about it. But as it is now, today, then you'd have Sweeney. And good. Fair play to him. He's not let his head go down, and he's showing some character. And fair play to him.
Yeah, it certainly is. Keep your comments coming in. Have your say on your team. Plenty more to talk about tonight on tonight's Mansfield Matters podcast. We'll give you those full results for podcast predictions for December as well. Don't forget that if you want to get involved and get your predictions in for tomorrow's game, you can do so now. The link is in the description. We'll do our predictions very, very shortly indeed. And a reminder that there's triple points up for grabs tomorrow as well. More to come after these.
Protect what matters most with Actifire Limited, your trusted local fire safety experts in Nottinghamshire. Proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast. From fire extinguishers and alarms to emergency lighting, pat testing and risk assessments, they've got everything you need for your business to stay safe. Affordable, reliable, professional. Because when it comes to fire protection, there's no room for compromise. Call Actifire Limited today or visit actifire.co.uk. Be ready, be safe, act now. Actifire Limited, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast.
We're the Mansfield Matters crew, making podcasts just for you. Some show up, some disappear, but the Stags bring us all here. Through the ups and downs we stay, talking Mansfield Town every day.
You're back with the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield always matters. As ever, if you want to have your say on your team or ask us any questions, you can do so in the comments on the live feed. If you listen to the audio version of this and thinking, I'd love to get involved, but I can never leave a comment. Well, follow us on all things social media, find out when we're next going to be live, and come and join the party. Just like Jordan has done on YouTube tonight. Do you think we're going to do some business in January? If so, where do we need strengthening? Alan, I'll start with you. Let's start with the first part of that question. Do you think we're going to do some business in January? It'd be very Nigel Clough to not do a little bit of business, but it seems to me like always it will very much depend on who goes the other way.
Yeah, I think if there's one or two go out either on loan or, back to their parent clubs, whatever, I think he'll bring one in. And I'd like it to be a striker.
I think we do. It's clear, Jim, like we've had the conversations previously, that we do need a little bit of reinforcements. But, budgets are tight, squad places are tight. It'd be an interesting one, won't it, to see whether we can actually squeeze people in.
I think we alluded to it before. We've got players in the squad when they're just not using, and they need to be moved on in the best tasteful possible way, just to free up their wages and the squad places. But I think, certainly, Alan says a striker. For me, a big, strong nine who can hold it up and who knows where the back of the net is, because we've really not replaced Gregory at all, and that's been a massive gaping hole in the squad. But if you're talking ideally, I mean, I agree. It will always come down to money. I know Clive doesn't like that phrase, but it's true. In an ideal world, I'd like another sort of McDonald type player, because I think when he's not there, we really miss that. And if there's any other sort, with all the injuries we get in, particularly sort of any attacking area, be it in the 10 or wide sort of winger type areas, if there's somebody who's on the right deal going in that area who's going to improve us, then someone like that as well. In an ideal world, but it won't come down to ideals. It will come down to what numbers and deals can get done and whatever else. But there's no doubt we need some help, because even if everybody's fit, they're going to get injured again. And even when they are all fit, we've still got our issues and deficiencies. But again, we don't live in an ideal world.
Maybe the bigger question, Clive, is when we've got everybody fit and available, let's say in an ideal world, all of these players that are missing through injury or whatever are back fit and available and knocking on Nigel Clough's door. Have we got enough then to take us somewhere? Or hello, I could hear myself then. I think, were you watching it on your phone? I think I was leaving it back. I don't know. Anyway, what was I saying? Play the show again, then I know what question I was asking.
What you was asking me is if when all the players are available to be selected, have we got enough players?
There we go.
Yes, of course we have. Otherwise, what did he do at the beginning of the season when he selected this squad? The reality is, though, that the squad isn't fit enough to survive a season intact. And that's not a phenomenon for this year. That's been ever since Clough's been in charge. So I'm not blaming him for this. There is an injury phenomenon where none of us really understand. But what worries me is if Clough sees January as a turning point when a lot of players are coming back, and therefore if he can just hang on a bit till that's out of the way, we don't need to recruit anymore. I think that's a dangerous game of brinkmanship. I think we need a couple of bodies just to give us that selection factor. And I agree with Alan. One should be a free-running striker. The other one, just a utility player. Whether we do is down to Clough and who's in the market. Now, you've got to presume his brother is looking at the market on a more or less daily basis to see who's likely to be available. January is notoriously a bad time to buy players because if they're available, there's a reason. And we end up taking players on in a panic situation. So I can see why he might be reluctant just to go in there for the sake of it. But my worry is if he thinks he can hang on and get through without recruitment, it may work, but equally it may not.
I don't know what to make of this comment from Adam, Alan. I think this is a bit of a strange one for me. Wouldn't be surprised to see Aaron Lewis, Maris, Barry, Maka, Akins go in January or the end of the season. Aaron Lewis pretty much plays every week. George Maris, he's probably the only one out of the ones that are listed that I think would likely go somewhere, albeit on loan or if someone came in for him. Barry, if fit and available, would be in and around the squad because Clough absolutely loves his attitude, as he does with Maka, as he does with Lucas Akins, hence Akins actually being back in the building. I don't know what to make of that, Al.
Well, everybody's got their own opinions, haven't they? Fair play to Adam. If that's what he thinks, you can't take that away from him. I don't agree with everything he's said. Probably a couple of those, age-related, that's all. But I also like to hark back onto the other players that we were talking about. I still think somewhere along the line, Mr. Dwyer is going to come good. I do. I've just got that funny feeling that somewhere along the line is going to fit in. It's going to be a match that's just made for him. He's going to score a couple of goals, and I think he'll start firing again. But I do hope so.
This, Alan, is why you have the title of the most positive man in Mansfield, because if you listen to what Nigel Clough said in that post-match where he basically said he's not good enough in training, he will barely play for Mansfield again. I think there's more chance of Dom Dwyer barely playing for Mansfield again and being loaned out somewhere than doing what you've just suggested, to be honest.
We shall see.
We shall indeed. I would put money on it, but I'm not a betting man. I also forgot in Adam's comment as well that he has a natural hatred towards all things Jordan Bowery. So Jordan Bowery could score 9 goals in a game and still he'd be the worst player on the pitch in Adam's eyes. So anyway, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Of course they are. Keep your comments coming in, as we say. Simon says it's a massive gamble to rely on players coming back and remaining fit. Also, Clive, not convinced that Tyler Roberts will be back. It's gone very quiet. So another attacking midfielder for me would be needed, says Simon.
I tend to share the anxiety about Tyler ever coming back, I have to say. But that's probably me just being pessimistic. I felt the same about Gregory and I was proved right. But I hope I'm wrong because he certainly is the touch of quality we're missing at the moment.
Yeah, he is. It's funny, Jim, isn't it, looking back, because you'd hope that we would learn our lessons from the ghosts of Mansfield's past, wouldn't you? Because last January, we were relying too much on waiting for a player to come back and come fit and give people the opportunity for the form to click in. When we were sort of starting to play poorly, and that we didn't need new legs and all of that sort of stuff. We then took a massive gamble on Lee Gregory in the summer, which didn't pay off. And I just think this time this whiffs of history repeating itself, Jim, with what Clough's saying in terms of, we'll be all right in January when we've got bodies back. Well, what happens if they get another 2-week setback and all of a sudden we've got a week to go or a day to go before the transfer market slams shut and all we're left with is the dregs? Do we want to end up with another Matty Craig situation like we did last year?
No, I think we've got to. You're right. He's got to learn the lessons of last year. And to me, we've touched on it, I think, on previous shows. The recruitment's got to be, first and foremost, they've got to be fit. Not a horrendous injury history. They've got to be robust and have faith that they're going to be on the pitch more than not. And they get with a robust game. Otherwise, what's the point? And I think, it's got to stop, this recruitment that we're doing. And I'd also say is, yes, it's not ideal to buy in January, but it's cheaper to stay in League One than it is trying to get back into it. And if that means you pay a slightly higher margin than you ideally wanted to, then you pay it, because in the long run, it's cheaper over the next 2 or 3 years. And the board, they've got to make a decision. You look at that table with 3 points still off relegation. Even though we're in 11th, we're still 3 points off relegation. And if we get it wrong in January, we could easily go down. Still quite easily go down. And
I think January, Clive, is a huge month for us when you look at the fixtures. that we've got coming on. Obviously, we've got games coming thick and fast. Discounting the FA Cup trip to Sheffield United, of course, after the home game with Bradford tomorrow. Sunday, we go to Rotherham. And do you know what? The pressure shifts a little bit for me because the last two games where we've been to Barnsley and Bolton, there's not really been any pressure on our shoulders. But for me, we need to be... Rotherham's the first fixture in a long time where actually we need to be looking at that going, no, actually we need to come away with all 3 points here, because that's the one way we could get sucked back into it. And, if Matt Hamshaw does get the sack from there, which I know that pretty much 99.9% of Rotherham fans are screaming for at the minute, they absolutely detest him from what I can tell on Twitter. The new manager bounce will be a factor we need to take into consideration as well, as it probably will with a few others in and around that bottom four. So it's probably, looking at January's fixtures, I think it's a huge month for actually trying to secure our future in the division.
Yeah, but everyone's a critical one. I mean, you're right, though. It's the Mansfield way, isn't it? We've got a fixture coming up where we should expect to get something from it. And you know damn well that the Mansfield way is we won't from that one. And we'll get the points where we don't expect to get them. Hence the last 2 away games. But you can do nothing about the fixtures. They're there. We know they're there. You've got to play everybody twice. And we've just got to improve our form in line with what we are doing at the moment. If you can carry forward the form of December, we're actually safe, because we had a bad start and we've had 2 good wins at the end of it and a draw somewhere in the middle. That's all we need. So I think we can overthink this. I think I'd sooner concentrate my thoughts on what do we do if we do recruit, who do we recruit, and what's in the market. And Jim's point about, is the club willing to throw some money at the problem? It's above my pay station to know. But in an ideal world, yes, of course, it'd say to the manager, go and buy somebody to make sure that we don't have a problem going into February, March. But we'll see. I mean, none of us know, do we?
No.
This is very true. But going back to the fixtures, Alan, you look at who we've got coming up in January. Port Vale also, I think we've got to play. Plymouth are down there as well. Exeter are, hovering in that position as well. This is really one where you'd want us to have more bodies available, because it's where we need to dig our... For me, it's where we need to dig our heels in. I think the last thing I want us to do is to get to the end of February, early March, with it being as tight as it is at the minute. We need to have that little bit of breathing space, because we all know what it's like when we're running low on legs. Somebody somewhere will, pull up injured and we'll be missing a key component. We have to hammer the nail into the coffin of the other clubs. We've got to be ruthless.
That's why it was nice to get the 2 wins when we have, the 2 last away wins, because we seem to be playing a little bit better away from home than what we do at home, for some strange reason. But you can only, I said 2 or 3 weeks ago, Craig, you can only beat what's in front of you, whether it be Bolton, whether it be Wigan, or whether it be Port Vale. Get the players back, and they should prove enough to keep up there with the momentum that we've already got going now. But it's hard to say, isn't it? Because who'd have thought, with, like we said before, with those 11 players on Monday night, who'd have thought we'd have come away with a 1-0 win? It's like Clive said, you expect to beat Rotherham, or hope to beat Rotherham, and your Port Vales, your Plymouths. But we'll just have to wait and see how many players we've got. Just keep, like Simon says, 7 more wins, that's 50 points. Now, out of the next 20 whatever, surely we can get 7 wins. But you've just got to, you can only beat what's in front of you at the end of the day.
This is true. I do agree with what Richard said in the comments, though, Jim. It's going to need more than 50 points this season. It is so tight. I think it will need more than 50. I think you're looking at about 56.
Yeah, it could do. I mean, what you've also got to consider, it's all relative. If we've got one of the smallest budgets and all the teams around us are going to strengthen, then you've got to strengthen to keep pace with them. And that just keeps you... So, I mean, there's that as well. But... I mean, the last couple of games has given us all a lot of faith that we can scrap and fight and get points places. So it's given me a lot of hope that we can stay up just through what we're about and our character and the manager. But at the end of the day, any manager will tell you, I'm sure, you've got to have the players. You've got to have the player. And if everybody else around us is getting stronger, we've got to. It's very naive to think we can do it with what we've got. I mean, that's without an injury crisis. But if we get bad injuries again, well, we all saw what happened earlier this year. It'd be, all our hard work to get where we've got to. I think your luck will run out when you keep trying to do it on the sly. You've got to be realistic.
Well, we're gonna find. We'll certainly find out on the pitch how we get on. But how do you guys think we'll get on the pitch? It's time to play this.
The game of luck, who gives up, don't mess it up. I hear you say, how do you play? Win, lose or draw, then pick a score and one more thing. Pick a hero, don't score zero, that's the game. But we're not fools, this game has rules. It gets on time, you'll be fine, remember the rhyme. That's predictions. That's predictions. Remember the rhyme. Guess on time, you'll be fine. Remember the rhyme. That's predictions.
Podcast predictions time then, and the results are in for December. As you'll see if you're watching the video version of this on screen, the full table is now out. Matt Piercy is top of the table with 242 points. Chris Vincent in second on 226 and Olivia Wilson in third on 223. It is very tight indeed. If you want to have a look at the table in full, you can do so via going to our social media where it's out there now. Find out how many points you've got, and who knows, you could springboard your way up the table, because tomorrow's game to kick off 2026 at home to Bradford, we are going double points, baby. No, we're not. We're going triple points, baby. Oh, yeah. Triple points up for grabs for this one. So it's time to get our guessing on. Now, we are going to do podcast predictions for both Bradford and Rotherham, because we've done a lot of podcasts this week. And to be honest, it's going to be very difficult to try and fit another one in before we go to Rotherham on Sunday. So we're going to do predictions for both Bradford and Rotherham. We're going to start with Bradford first. And I'm top of the podcast predictions table for Mansfield Matters. So I'm going to have to go first, which means Bradford at home. I am going to go for a 2-1 win, and I'm going to go for my hero to make sure we don't score 0. I am going to go for Ryan Sweeney. Clive, you're up next. Bradford first, please.
1-1 draw. Dave.
Jim.
2-1 win. Cargill.
Alan.
2-0 win. Oates.
Let's go the opposite way round to Rotherham then. So, Alan, you go first for Rotherham away.
2-1 win. Mansfield. Dave.
Jim. 1-1. Nobby.
Nobby Welsh. Clive.
2-0 win. Oates.
I am going to go for a 4-1 win. And I am going to go for Evans in that one. If you want to get involved in podcast predictions, you can do so. The link that you need is in the description. Make sure you play along. Your reminder that you must get your guesses in no later than 19 minutes before kickoff on your selected games, and you can't pick the same player for your fantasy captain twice in a row, because you will lose points if you do that. Triple points up for grabs for tomorrow's home game against Bradford, and then we're back to normal for the Rotherham game on Sunday. Now, 2025 has been one hell of a calendar year for us. One of my favourite things, though, about 2025 was when Clive, Nick, Big Tone and Alan and me went on a little trip to Birmingham, and Alan struggled to tear himself away from the overflowing bins of Birmingham, which led to arguably one of the greatest features on the podcast this series.
Alan, where's your bin? Alan, where's your bin? Alan, where is your bin? Alan, where's
It is a great feature. Let's add everyone to Alan. Where's you been? Then let's put Alan in his rightful place up at the top there. If you've not seen this feature before, this is where Alan Wilson has a random clue to a football stadium from up and down the UK, where he has taken his metaphorical bin, and all we have to do is guess where said bin is. If we guess it on the first clue, we get 5 points. Second clue is 4, 3, 2, and so on and so on. So far, in the couple of rounds that we've played of this, I've got 4 points and Nick has got 4 points. Jim and Clive are yet to score, as are Cam and Nathan. Will they get some points today? Will Jim and Clive get some points today? The way it works is Alan reads out his first clue. Then we all have a guess to see who we think it is. Alan will tell us if we're right and wrong. And if we're wrong, we'll move on to the next clue. If we're right, then of course we will get those points. Alan Wilson, I've got one question and one question only for you. Alan, where's you been?
Right then, question 1 for 5 points. This team, what I visited, started in 1882 as a rugby club and then changed to an association football club.
So, Clive, if you want to have a guess first, Jim's just given up the ghost and not bothered by it. So it's me versus you. Clive, have a guess. Do you want to have a guess?
Stockport County.
I've gone for Wigan.
Incorrect.
Both incorrect?
Yes.
Okay. Clue number 2, please.
Question number 2. This team became only one of 5 teams to win all 4 English League divisions.
Oh, hang on a minute. Let me just add Jim back in. Where's he gone? Jim.
Yeah.
Alan, just recap clue number 1 for Jim, please, and see if he can get it.
They were formed in 1882 as a rugby club and then changed to Association Football Club.
Okay. I've got, right. So it's guess the football club. I can take it.
Yeah. Have a guess.
Bradford City.
Incorrect.
Okay, Alan, if you'd like to recap clue number 2 then, please.
Question 2. They became only one of 5 teams to win all 4 English Football League divisions. There's only 5 teams that's done it, won them. And they are one of those teams.
Okay.
Got it.
Oh, Clive's got it.
I'm going to go, I will guess at Blackburn.
Incorrect.
Jim?
Preston.
Incorrect.
Clive?
Everton.
Incorrect.
Oh, dear. Everyone's doing the game. Right, we're playing for 3 points then. Next
Question
clue.
3 is an anagram of their ground. And if you want to write this down, because you're supposed to have pens and papers anyway, 2, T-O, 4, F-O-R, and rum, R-U-M. That's an anagram of their ground.
Jesus, I can't work that out. 2, 4, it's an anagram of their ground. Okay, so it's not an anagram of the club, it's an anagram of their ground.
Yes, anagram of their ground. I thought this was the easiest one.
I don't think it is. Clive, you go first on this one.
No, Clive
No
hasn't got
guess?
it. Jim?
God almighty, I've not a clue. Not a clue, to be honest with you, at the moment.
I haven't seen any of the right answers in the comments either yet.
I'm going to guess. I'm just going to throw a guess out there so we get to the next one. I'm going to say Fulham.
No, incorrect.
Okay, right, for 2
Right.
points then.
For 2 points, and anybody who's a cricket fan will probably get this one.
Alan.
I know. King Charles, the present king, and Jimmy Anderson both support this club.
Oh, I've got it. Can I say it?
Just see what Craig's. You're all
Right. I'm gonna guess at Leicester.
Incorrect.
Clive?
Tranmere Rovers.
Incorrect.
Jim?
Incorrect.
Burnley.
Correct.
Oh,
Turf-
Turf Moor.
Turf
Have
Moor.
Seth
Yes.
got it?
Turf Moor.
It
Yeah.
was Jimmy Anderson gave it away.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
said about cricket. And the last one would have been their manager now is Scott Parker.
So Jim gets 2 points. Let me put that on the board before I forget. Where are we?
Well done, Jim.
Well done,
Thanks,
Jim.
Alan.
Well done. Excellent work, Alan. That was a phenomenal instalment of...
Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your bin? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your bin? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your bin? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your bin?
I think that's up there with the original podcast predictions jingle. To be fair, right? Let's move on, because that's not the only bit of competition in today's show. Of course, it's the final podcast of 2025, which means we, by tradition, on Mansfield Matters, have to have a quiz about the calendar year that has just passed us by. There are 10 questions in That Was 2025, the quiz. You'll need a pen and paper. You're more than welcome to play along at home if you wish to do so. And let's get straight into it then. So question number 1 is, the Stags started 2025. How they ended it by beating Bolton. But how many players featured in both games, either in the starting 11 or coming off of the bench? You get 1 point for the correct answer, and then 1 point each if you can name them. So the Stags started 2025, how they ended it by beating Bolton, but how many players featured in both games, either starting or coming off of the bench? 1 point for the correct answer, and then 1 point each if you can name them. So I'll give everyone a minute or so to do that, and we'll have a little bit of something in the background. So the Stags started 2025, how they ended it by beating Bolton, but how many players featured in both games, either starting or coming off of the bench? 1 point for the correct answer, and then you get a bonus point each if you can name them. Give you a minute to do that. Just while they do that, just want to extend our thanks from all at Mansfield Matters for sticking with us in 2025. More podcasts to come in 2026. We won't get to do one before the Rotherham game, but we'll definitely do one before the FA Cup trip to Sheffield United a week on Sunday. Right, question number 2. After defeat in the FA Cup in early January, league form plummeted with how many straight defeats? You don't have to name them, I just want a number. How many straight defeats after the FA Cup defeats? Question 3, the poor form continued to spiral, and it wasn't until mid-March that the Stags actually won a game, beating Barnsley 2-1, thanks to who netting a 90th minute winner? The poor form continued to spiral, and it wasn't until mid-March that the Stags actually won a game, beating Barnsley 2-1, thanks to who netting a 90th minute winner? Question 4. Safety was confirmed in late April without the Stags kicking a ball. But I want to know, who beat who to keep the Stags in League One? 2 points up for grabs, 1 per team. Safety was confirmed in late April without the Stags kicking a ball. But who beat who to keep the Stags in League One? Question number 5 then. It's been quite the year for Owen Mason, who stepped up to be the second choice keeper. But against who did he make his Football League debut at the end of last season? 2025 has been quite the year for Owen Mason, who stepped up to be the second choice keeper. Against who did he make his Football League debut? Question 6, and it's another memory one for you. An emotional final day of the season in May saw us say thank you and goodbye to Uncle Stephen. But 7 others also played their final game for the Stags that day. Name them. 1 point each. So question 6, an emotional final day of the season in May saw us say thank you and goodbye to Uncle Stephen. But I've not gone anywhere. I'm up in the stands doing the analysts and doing the coaching. Yes, I know, Uncle Stephen, but we said a goodbye to you on the pitch, didn't we? Yes, I know what you mean. 7 others also said goodbye in that game. Who were they? I just love watching Clive's face in these quizzes. He hates them with a passion. It's my favourite thing. Question number 7. Nigel Clough rebuilt in the summer, bringing in 11 new faces. You know where this is going. Name them. 1 point each. So Nigel Clough rebuilt in the summer, bringing in 11 new faces. Name them for 1 point each. I'll recap the questions at the end as well. 3 more to go. Question number 8. The Carabao Cup saw the Stags take on the C Word, securing a 2-0 win with goals from who? 1 point each. So question 8, the Carabao Cup saw the Stags take on the C Word, securing a 2-0 win with goals from who? 1 point each. Question number 9. This is Alan's favourite question. Alan, have you got any idea what kind of question is going to come out now if this is your favourite question?
Possibly something to do with penalties.
Correct. There's been 2 penalty shootouts in 2025, 1 defeat against Newcastle's Kids and 1 win against Accrington. I want you to name every successful penalty taker from both shootouts. I can tell you there's 6. 1 point each. 2 penalty shootouts in 2025. I know me, Clive and Jim didn't see the second one. But I want you to name every successful penalty taker from both of those shootouts, please, for 1 point each. And question 10, the final question. Excluding time added on at the end of each half and excluding pre-season friendlies, how many minutes of football have the Stags played in 2025?
Oh, fuck off.
I will give you double all of your points if you get this right. If none of you get it right, I'll give 1 point for the person who's closest. So excluding time added on at the end of each half and excluding friendlies, how many minutes of football have the Stags played in 2025? Whilst the guys rack their brains and Clive sticks another pin in the voodoo doll of Craig that he's got, I'll recap the questions for you. Question 1, the Stags started 2025, how they ended it by beating Bolton. But how many players featured in both of those games, either starting or coming off of the bench? Question 2 was, after defeat in the FA Cup in January, league form plummeted with how many straight defeats? Question 3, after the poor form continued to spiral, it wasn't until mid-March that the Stags actually won a game, beating Barnsley 2-1, thanks to who netting a 90th minute winner? Question 4, safety was confirmed in late April without the Stags kicking a ball. I want to know who beat who to keep the Stags in League One. Question 5, 2025 has been quite the year for Owen Mason, who stepped up to be the second choice keeper. But against who did he make his Football League debut? Question 6, an emotional final day of the season in May saw us say thank you and goodbye to Uncle Stephen. 7 others also played their final game for the Stags that day. Can you name them? Question 7, Nigel Clough rebuilt in the summer, bringing in 11 new faces. Same thing again. Can you name them? Question 8, the Carabao Cup saw the Stags take on the C Word, securing a 2-0 win with goals from who? Question 9, there's been 2 penalty shootouts in 2025. One a defeat against Newcastle's Kids and the other a win against Accrington Stanley. Name every successful penalty taker from both shootouts. And question 10, excluding added on time at the end of each half and excluding friendlies, how many minutes of football have the Stags played in 2025? Well, let's see who of our panel has got the brain of 2025 then this year. The Stags started 2025, how they ended it beating Bolton, but how many players featured in both games? 1 point up for grabs for that. Jim, how many featured in both games, please?
I've gone for 5.
5.
7.
Alan?
10.
The correct answer is 8 players. So none of you get a point for that. However, you can pick up some points if you said any of the following players: Dave, Cargill, Oates, Reed, Macca, Evans, Tracy, and Aaron Lewis. So if you said any of those 8 players in your guesses, you get 1 point each for those. Question 2 was after the defeat in the FA Cup, league form plummeted with how many straight defeats? Alan?
4.
Clive?
6.
Jim?
7.
6 is the correct answer. Well done, Clive.
Well done, Clive.
Question 3, the poor form continued to spiral. It wasn't until mid-March that the Stags actually won a game, beating Barnsley 2-1, thanks to who netting a 90th minute winner? Clive?
Reed.
Alan?
Dwyer.
Jim?
Dave.
Dave is the correct answer. And if you wrote Oshalaja down, that is incorrect, because that is not his name. I will only accept Dave as a correct answer. Where are we? Question 4. Safety was confirmed in late April without kicking a ball. Who beat who, Alan, to keep the Stags in League One?
I have no idea. I've put Wrexham beat Cambridge.
Clive?
Not a clue.
Jim?
Reading beat Bristol Rovers away.
Reading did beat Bristol Rovers. So
Well
it's
done, Jim.
2 points for Jim, 1 point per team. 2025 has been quite the year for Owen Mason, who stepped up to be the second choice keeper. Clive, against who did he make his Football League debut?
Burton Albion.
Alan?
Wickham.
Jim?
Peterborough United.
Peterborough United is correct.
Jim's good at these.
Question number 6, an emotional final day farewell for Stephen Quinn, but there were also 7 others who played their final game that day. 1 point each if you said any of the following: Scott Flinders, Aidan Flint, Keanu Bacchus, Caelan Vickers, Hiram Boateng, Jordan Rhodes, and Ben Waine, international footballer. Said any of those, give yourself a point. Did any of the 3 of you get all 7?
I got 6, but what about Ben Quinn?
Didn't play in that game.
Oh, right. Okay. 6.
I've got 6.
Jim?
I got 4.
Okay, no, I can't give anyone double points then. Ben Quinn didn't play in that game, so it was basically those who played in that game. Nigel Clough rebuilt in the summer, bringing in 11 new faces. Come on, we should all be getting points here. If you get all 11, I'll double it to 22 points for you. So here we go. Liam Roberts, Kyle Noyle, Ryan Sweeney, Kyle McAdam, Joe Gardner, Jamie McDonnell, Tyler Roberts, Nathan Mariah Welsh, or if you've written down Little Nobby Welsh, I'll accept that as well. Regan Hendry, Max Dickoff, and Luke Bolton. Did anybody get all 11?
Yeah.
No.
Clive, did you get all 11?
9.
Jim, you said you did, didn't you?
Yeah, all 11.
Yeah, double that to 22 points then.
Oh, Jim's won quiz that.
Jim's just stormed ahead.
Well
Well,
done,
maybe. Question 8, the Carabao Cup saw the Stags take on the C Word. We won 2-0 with goals from who, Clive?
Can't remember.
Alan?
Oates and Evans.
Correct answer. There's been 2 penalty shootouts in 2025, 1 defeat against Newcastle's Kids and 1 win against Accrington. Name every successful penalty taker from both shootouts. I told you there was 6. If you get all 6, I will double your points. Here we go. Stephen McLaughlin, Nathan Mariah Welsh, aka Little Nobby Welsh, Aaron Lewis, Lucas Akins, Dave. I'll also accept Tosh Elijah on this occasion, and Lewis Reed. Did anyone get all 6?
No, I got 3.
Yeah.
Did
I
you?
got
Is that
6.
well done, Clive? Double it to 12 points then.
Well done, Clive.
And finally, question 10. Excluding added on time at the end of each half and excluding friendlies, how many minutes of football have the Stags played in 2025? So you can double all of your points if you get this right.
All of the points.
All of your points that you've
Wow.
accumulated so far. Alan, what did you write down?
Well, I've got 2,050.
Clive, what did you write down?
Well, I worked it out precisely.
Oh.
687,342.
Tim, what did you write down?
5,100.
None of you were correct, but the closest is half an hour out is Jim. The
Well
correct
done, Jim.
answer is 5,070.
Well
So
done.
Jim gets 1
Oh.
point, Jim. 1 point, not double. 1 point. So
I
I'd appoint you.
misunderstood the questions. I've done seconds.
Well, there you go. Can't help you there, Clive. Sorry.
Oh, no. 7.
Can't help you there. Add up all your points and we'll see who's got what.
22, 24.
Well done, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Jim's nearly beat me with double points.
Well, it's interesting because Clive also
Yeah.
picked some double points in there. So I'll start with you, Alan, the only one who didn't get double points anywhere.
27.
Clive,
33.
Jim,
1 second. I think it's 34. 34. I
Still
think.
adding them up.
No, it's got to be more than
No,
34.
well, 38. Sorry, 38. I think 38.
Well done, Jim.
It's a bit of a scribble. Thanks,
Well,
guys.
we'll say that Jim won it. Jim, well done. You are the
Can
brains of
Can I ask you a question, Craig?
no. Yes,
Will we be having a quiz like this again in a year's time?
yes.
I'm not available.
We'll also be having a quiz like this at the end of the season. Like we've done for the last 9 series of the podcast. It's a month for Matters tradition.
It's torment for me and for most of
I
the people
know.
watching, but there you go.
But Clive, you just finished second.
You get nothing for second.
And
You
to
don't
be
get,
honest,
you get bugger all for winning.
well, that is true, other than, bragging rights and all of that. But there you go. Right, before we move on and sign off for the night, New Year is, a couple of hours away now, and another game is upon us very quickly tomorrow. New Year's resolutions. Alan, what are you wanting from Mansfield Town in 2026?
Positivity.
It's as simple as that. I should have known that had come
Yeah.
from his mouth. Clive, what about you?
Fewer injuries.
Yeah,
And Jim.
that's a good one.
Not to repeat old mistakes.
And none of you said more podcasts. Disappointed. Bad news, fellas. There'll be more podcasts and there'll be more quizzes. So that's all we've got time for on tonight's Mansfield Matters podcast, the final podcast of 2025. Thanks for all of your support during this calendar year. It has been phenomenal as always. Plus, my thanks to the Mansfield Matters podcast panel as well for joining me on the adventure all throughout the calendar year and indeed this evening. Don't forget, if you want to get involved with podcast predictions, the link that you need is in the description. Triple points are up for grabs on New Year's Day. That's tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow against Bradford at One Call Stadium. And then we're back to normal for the trip to Rotherham on Sunday. The link that you need is in the description. A reminder, you must submit your guesses no later than 90 minutes before your selected game, and you can't pick the same player twice. We won't be doing a podcast before the Rotherham game, so we'll see you early next week. Stay tuned to our social media to find out when. Happy New Year to you all. We'll see you on the other side. Goodbye.
Protect what matters most with Actifire Limited, your trusted local fire safety experts in Nottinghamshire. Proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast. From fire extinguishers and alarms to emergency lighting, pat testing and risk assessments, they've got everything you need for your business to stay safe. Affordable, reliable, professional. Because when it comes to fire protection, there's no room for compromise. Call Actifire Limited today or visit actifire.co.uk. Be ready, be safe, act now. Actifire Limited, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast.